Welcome, everybody, to One Stage at a Time, the podcast. We're playing through video games one stage at a time, not skipping any single level. We are playing Doom at the moment, and we are starting off the final episode, the final chapter, the final missions of Doom from 1993, the original Doom. I'm Aaron Neeson, and I'm joined by Andy Prim. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
Hello. And we are joined once again by Sam Ingersoll, back and feeling better. He wasn't here last episode, but he has returned to the podcast. Welcome back, Sam.
Hello.
Gentlemen, let's talk about Doom.
Let's do it. Yeah, like you said, Aaron, today we're playing through the beginning of episode 4, the apocryphal 4th episode. And this is, I think, our first episode of this show of 2021. Thank fucking God.
We did it. The world.
Well, not yet. Let's not celebrate too soon.
We got here.
You're welcome.
One day closer.
No, everything's better now, folks. You can go outside. You don't have to wear a mask anymore. And and you'll be getting a check for $2,000 in the mail anytime now. But while you wait for that check to come, today we're going to tell you about the apocryphal 4th episode of Doom, which is called Thy Flesh Consumed. And today we will be playing the first map of episode 4, which is called Hell Beneath. Give you some quick stats on Hell Beneath here, folks. Hell Beneath is designed by one American McGee. This is the first time we've encountered the good American on this show. We've talked about him a little bit in the past, but this is the first level that he's designed that we've played through. The music track here is Sign of Evil. This is another reused one from Bobby Prince. I'm pretty sure everything in episode 4 is reused, but we'll see for sure if that's the case or not. On the ultra-violence difficulty, this stage has 2 secrets. And as far as monsters here, we have 20 sergeants, 9 specters, 29 imps, and 5 barons of hell. This is a baron-rich environment. So, fellas, what did you think?
Well,
Hell Beneath.
I think I've said this once or twice before, but I really mean it this time when I say that this level is a bunch of horse shit. What a fucking level. Holy crap.
You said it, brother.
This was the first time that I had to stop playing the level, and I watched the Let's Play video first. Because I was just like, I'm done. I need to know what the hell's going on with this stupid level.
And once more, we'll acknowledge Big Mac Davis, our friend and unwilling co-host on this journey. We love his Let's Plays, and we've been using them as our reference on this show because he knows how to play the game and we do not.
And I'll agree with him. He says in this video that he pretty much sums up that out of the classic Doom, that this is probably the hardest level, mainly because of 2 things that both suck, which is the severe lack of ammo and the complete lack of health. There's no health in this level.
None whatsoever.
And a bunch of fucking bullshit. One thing, what it is, you know, I also felt, I was reading about it, that people thought, I thought I was on the wrong difficulty when I played, because apparently Ultra Nightmare, that's Ultra Violence, sorry.
Ultra Violence.
It's another, Ultra Nightmare is a Doom 2016 difficulty, I think. Used to be just hard, and the Nightmare was spawning enemies. No, now we've got spawning enemies from nowhere in Ultra Violence.
Yeah, they're teleporting in left and right. Yeah, you're getting your ass fucked from both sides.
Yeah. Every beginning of a episode thus far had felt sort of like a soft reset. Like, you know, it factored in the fact that you didn't really have any weapons.
Yeah.
It was the first level. So, you know, it sort of eased you into it again a little bit. This one said, fuck you. We're taking it up a notch. You're eating shit this entire time. Be miserable. We hate you. Welcome to episode 4.
Yeah, in episodes 1, 2, and 3, they lubed us up a little bit before they gave us the business.
Yeah, exactly. This one, they were like, bite the pillow. Here it comes.
It's like the first time you ever played the first level of Doom in the first episode, but not as fun. But not fun. It was fun when I saw how we did it, and I understood what, like, where they were spawning and like how to trigger them, and like being ready for it. It was still hard when I knew what to expect, but boy, was that was some nonsense.
Well, let's talk through the levels. So we start off in kind of a smallish room where we're in like I don't know, it's like a cavern or like a building of some kind. We can see out into a little courtyard. We pick up the shotgun. Immediately, a whole bunch of shotgun troopers start teleporting in from nowhere. And these guys are, I don't know if the AI is different, but they feel more aggressive and like they're aiming a little bit better. Maybe that's just me being bad at the game. But anyway, these guys are tough immediately.
I feel you're right. I feel like not only are they more aggressive, but I think they might be shooting faster. I think that's quicker to pop a shot off. Like before I would have a little more time to kind of get a beat on them before they'd shoot me.
Yeah.
But I
feel like they had an itchy trigger finger for sure.
Yeah.
No, before they were like Elmer Fudd, and you could trick them with like a sign that said duck season. But now they're who's a cartoon hunter that's more serious than Elmer Fudd?
Hawkeye.
Yeah, they're like flicking their fingernails at us to kill us. So anyway, we fight these shotgun guys. We fight some imps, and there's a couple doors out of this main room, and there's a bunch of damaged floor in the middle. And there's a secret that you can get to in the damaged floor where, like, I did not find this first. Like, you have to stand on a platform and, like, back up to the edge of it. And then I actually, in the Switch version, I had to fall in the damaged floor and then use the A button to actually lower the platform.
That's exactly what he's doing when when I realized that he's well, I guess maybe not. I had to as well, where I had to hit it, but I could do it without taking damage if I was fast enough. But yeah, it looks like it's just falling automatically for Big Mac. But yeah, I definitely had to hit the ground and then spam spacebar and run as fast as I could to try and not get any damage.
So is he like, he starts falling and he just hits the A button so fast it looks like the floor's falling with him?
I think
he's still on the platform?
I think he is.
Okay. Yeah, it's like he's pressing it like through the floor, if that makes sense.
I'm playing Ultimate Doom as well, but I think it's a slightly different version for reasons I'll explain later on. But I think
because they've released 90 million versions of this game.
Yeah, so it's the Ultimate Doom collection, but it's been touched up and modded by a different company. And there's remind me about the differences that I've noticed, not just in this level, but in a few other places.
All right, we will. So we that secret, by the way, you lower it down, you go in, there's a rocket launcher, and then there's another secret door you can open, and there's two teleporters right next to each other. So you might not realize it, but they go to different locations. There's like these two ledges like overlooking in like the first room that each have a little power up to pick up there. And they both go to each of those corners. So you have to go through twice if you want to get all the pickups. Although those don't individually count as secrets, just finding the teleporter room counts as the secret there. But anyway, that's all there is in the first room. Although, even though it's a relatively small room, I took a lot of damage there. And I think like some specters get unleashed at this point too. And so, I mean, chances are you're already at like 50% health just getting out of this first room.
Yeah. It would. I had to play through this level several times because like even with the quick saves, I would try to quick save and then I would have such little health. Like I'm like, there's no way I'm getting through it like this, so I'd have to play it again. And
dude, it was Save Scum City. Like every 10 seconds, it was like, let me make a quick save.
Yeah, and it was. This level's just brutal. It's just brutal. Like I was not prepared for it. And then the teleporting and everything, the whole thing just threw me off 100%. Like I was not. I want to say I wasn't on my game, but I'm not like really, really good at this game or anything. Like I just struggled more than normal.
Well, for me, it's that first level problem that every single first level of all the episodes have, where it's like you don't have anything, you're starting from scratch. But at the same time, yeah, this level is, I mean, it did come out later, so I guess there had been, how long were the releases between 3 and 4?
Okay. Yeah, so Doom was 93, Doom 2 was 94, and episode 4, Thy Flesh Consumed, was 95. So Doom 2 was well out by the time they made this.
Well established. People had been playing it a lot, so it was probably like I'm going to assume that this whole episode is going to be more difficult, just because they've got 2 Dooms under their belt already for the fans, you know?
I'm going to tell you right now, brother, that's a safe assumption.
Our flesh will be consumed.
I don't have any major issues with the layout of the level.
It's
Other
itty-bitty.
than
So small.
it is very claustrophobic.
Yeah. So after we get out of this first room, there's basically really only 2 rooms and some side antechambers. But like the second room is like a big room with like a big kind of catwalk around the edge of a huge damage floor pit. And then in the middle of the damage floor pit is like a building. And basically you're supposed to kill the enemies around on the catwalk, drop down, go into the building, kill the enemies in there. But once you're like halfway through the building, people just start teleporting in left and right. There's a Baron of Hell that shows up. There's like a cage, like a jail grate that you can shoot through. So if you can, it's good to like trap the enemies on the other side and then shoot them. But because they can move and teleport, that's not always possible. But anyway, I got killed a lot here. And there is a what do you call it? A chain gun that you can get. But I honestly didn't find it that helpful when you're up against like a Baron of Hell. And later when you're up against 4 Barons of Hell at the same time, the chain gun's not that much help.
You guys talk like you fight the Barons of Hell. I ran the fuck away from them. I did not fuck with those guys. I'm like, I'm done. See ya.
To be fair, I used the video, but I did 100% everything. But again, I watched the video. I didn't follow it directly, but I watched it and figured it out from that. I was going to say as some of the things I did enjoy was like that grate scene was really awesome. Very useful to be able to like, kind of keep them off your face and gather them up a little bit. And I was doing some patented Big Mac Davis strategies of infighting. Whenever there's a point where you summon like 4 Barons of Hell and like 2 Specters and like 5 Imps all at once. I ran quick enough to get behind that grate and just let them pound the shit out of each other. And so I could just take down the Barons who were left.
Nothing we like better than watching some sweet Baron on Baron action.
That's right.
So, once you battle your way through the little building, you find the red key, I believe. You get out of there. You got to go back to the first room, open the red key door. In there, we have this small antechamber. There's like a big like block in the middle. You work your way around the narrow ledges behind it. There's a bunch of imps waiting for you. You get the blue key, then a bunch of specters spawn in, and then there's a secret that you definitely don't have to mess with and probably shouldn't mess with. But if you examine one of the torches in that room, it lowers the block in the middle, and 4 Barons of Hell teleport in at the same time. And that's when you realize American McGee is not a nice person.
No, he hates you.
So I've got oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
He hates us.
That room, I have a question for you guys. Did it, and the video, it comes down and it spells out 9-inch nails.
Yep.
Was that in your guys' version?
No, they took that out of the Switch version.
My version too was not there in that version. Yeah.
So 9-Inch Nails were huge Doom fans. Trent Reznor loved the game. And later they did the music for Quake, or at least some members of the band worked on Quake. And apparently they thought it would be cool if they put their NIN logo with the first N backwards, like in the in this little secret here. But I guess there were licensing issues or something because they had to take it out of later versions. I assume that's what happened.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was I would make like a pithy reference to a 9-Inch Nails song here, but I gotta be honest, I haven't listened to a single 9-Inch. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I don't have a joke for it, but I could just name one of their songs.
If we were better at riffing and being podcast hosts, we would have a great joke for you there.
But it makes that secret really weird if you don't know about it, because you go in there and like you walk around, nothing happens, and you just walk over a certain spot where the 9-Inch Nails symbol was, but there's nothing there, and it goes secret found.
Oh, I got one. American McGee hurt us today.
There we go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, this is great. You nailed it.
Thank you.
9-Inch nailed it.
I 9-Inch nailed it. Rim shot.
It was very, very frustrating until I watched the video and then did it, and I wasn't as frustrated, but I will make sure to channel my first impressions, which were, man, this shit better get better than this level.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it wasn't I don't want to say it's a bad level, it was hard as fuck, but it was interesting. And this is the the last chunk of Doom that clearly is for people who are big fans of the game, because the game had been out for a couple of years after this. And so like this wasn't made like in a vacuum with the rest of Doom. This was made on it, like technically I guess this is in a vacuum sort of like by itself. It was made after Doom and Doom 2 for the people who were super fans who wanted to get a bigger challenge. Like that's the thinking behind this section of the game. So like we're in for it, and like so it doesn't make it a bad level, but it definitely is frustrating, and it feels so different from the rest of the game. Yeah. So like as people who are just playing straight through it, like we're just sort of like, what? It came out of nowhere.
That's an interesting point, because while Doom doesn't have a lot of like text on screen, there is a story and there's like a narrative. We've talked a lot about this, like the visual storytelling. You have an understanding of like what's happening and the progression as Doom Guy moves through the moon bases and then through hell. But this is just kind of out of left field. There's not really a lot of explanation of like where we are. And there's like theories about what's going on, which we can get into, but the game doesn't really tell you that. It's just truly just basically gameplay and nothing else is kind of what's happening here.
Yeah, because we discussed on the last level that we played, like technically now he should be back on Earth.
Yeah.
Like he should be back on Earth, and like this is his happy ending. Like,
I read one theory that I liked, which was he came to Earth, and that bunny right here was his pet bunny that the demons had killed, and he was so pissed that he went back into hell to get some revenge before going back to Earth and doing what he did in Doom 2.
It makes as much sense as anything.
That's one theory. I've also read on doom.fandom.com that possibly this is like at the end of episode 3, you see like a weird like hell city. And that's when you see the bunny's head spiked as well. And people are thinking maybe we're back on Earth and this is one of the cities that the demons invaded.
It's
through
Cleveland.
The portal. This is what makes you say this is Cleveland.
We said it was Cleveland last time.
Oh, it's been so long. I totally forgot all those jokes. All those wonderful jokes that we made.
We were funny people then. No.
We were funny haha men.
That's right.
All right. Well, so anyway, there's various theories, but I guess like people mostly agree that this takes place between Doom and Doom 2. As to like the actual where we are and what's going on and what our goal is here, I suppose that's up for debate. All right. Well, we pretty much talked through the episode. So you get the blue key, you maybe find the Nine Inch Nails reference. Maybe you're really excited if you were a fan of 90s industrial bands, or maybe not. But then the blue key opens one final door. You can fight the 4 Barons of Hell or not. If you're a beefy, masculine, manly man like my friend Sam and Big Mac Davis, you'll take them on. If you're a little baby coward man like my friend Aaron, maybe you'll just run away.
Motherfucker, I went in blind. I did not have nobody's held my hand through this level. I tore through it without any help. Fuck you.
You were the guy in Tower of Mystery that was like, I can't leave the first room until I've killed all the barons.
That was that. Yeah. Yeah, I was then. Now, different game, different ball game here completely.
Different year, different game.
That's right. 2021 is the year of the coward. I'm telling you. Run away. Anyway, you open this last door with the blue key. The exit's right there. No tricks or traps to be found. And we're out. It's a small stage, really just 2 rooms and a few side chambers, but it takes forever. And I'll be honest, like when I first played it, I managed to kill everything, but I had like 2% health left at the end. I was like, you know what? The next stage is going to be real fucking hard with 2% health. So I reloaded and exited when I still had like, I don't know, 20% health or something. Right.
So I didn't get the 100%. I didn't get the Barons or the 9 Inch Nails secret, but I do have at least some health going into the next stage. And by God, we're going to need it. I'll just little preview for you boys. We're going to need it.
I got a little taste of the next level, and I think I'm either going to have to replay the first level or I'm going to have to take the second level on with just a pistol, because I do not have enough health to survive very long at all in that clash, that cataclysm, that battle that we drop into. No
there was a firefight.
Yeah.
I want to bring up one point before we move on to anything else about, I was thinking about everything in the level is fine, like the level design, not just like the level layout and everything, like the game, the episode itself. mission. Except I think the one thing that I didn't like that threw me off that I would rather wasn't in ultra violence was the teleporting, because it was so indicative of the nightmare difficulty and everything else. It's just that's what threw me off the most before I looked into it. Like that was the thing that was pissing me off, because it's not just here they are, but they will teleport away from you and go somewhere else and come up behind you, and it's we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe we could have done baby steps, and like maybe just the Barons did it in this level and like introduce it like a little bit in chunks, but we'll see. We'll see how things go.
That really, really made me mad when I realized they were teleporting all over the place. Like imps were teleporting all over the place, like and killing me from behind. It's like fuck you, man. Fuck you, American McGee.
The no health and the low ammo and the amount of enemies. That's fine. I could deal with that. But the teleportation.
American McGee's in his computer like, I'm the greatest game designer of all time.
Teleport. That's how I'll make my name.
I'll be putting my name in front of the titles of games before long.
Did he start doing that?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah. Oh, like every game he's made since then, he put his name before.
Jeez. The Sid Meier method, huh?
Yeah.
We'll get into him. But I do want to talk a little bit of history as we wrap up this stage. So, like, where did episode 4 come about, basically? This was a re-release of Doom in 1995 called The Ultimate Doom, which I think Sam's playing a version of, and Big Mac Davis is playing a version of as well. But it was basically like a collector's pack Ultimate Edition, because the original Doom had been released in such a weird way, like with all the shareware that was going on. So you might have owned part of it, or you might have owned it, but in different segments that you'd gotten. This was like an all-in-one retail package. And they included episode 4 as like, a tantalizing thing. Like if you bought it the first time, you can buy it again. There's episode 4. I think they even had a deal where like if you had a certain version of the first 3 episodes, you could download episode 4 for free, which is kind of a cool deal. But I'm not sure if everyone could take advantage of that. But anyway, it was like, the ultimate collector's pack. And they decided, they would actually go back to the drawing board. And this wasn't just like bullshit. Like John Romero worked on some of these levels, American McGee, Kevin Cloud, a few other guys. They brought in guys from the fan modding community that John Romero really liked and had them work on it too. So that's pretty tight. But I'll tell you, one name conspicuously missing, our boy Sandy Peterson didn't work on a single level.
I noticed you did not mention his name. I was waiting for it, and then, well, Sandy's out. I can't believe it.
He wasn't fired yet because he went on to work on Quake, did a bunch of levels on Quake. But I don't know, maybe he was like too busy singing in the Mormon Tabernacle Choir during this period.
Maybe there was a division forming between like John Carmack and John Romero, and he was team Carmack over on Quake.
I wouldn't be surprised. The Quake development, I mean, fuck, we could talk about that. It's like the Beatles Abbey Road sessions. They just all hated each other. People didn't want to be in the same room as other people. Everyone had their own competing vision. Carmack was playing all the level designers off against each other. He'd be like, Romero, your levels suck. We're doing American's levels now. American, your levels suck. We're doing Tim's levels now. And so on and so forth. He had them all like sitting in the same room, like all facing each other, so he could see if anyone was goofing off. It was just like a death march to get to the end of that game.
I hate him. I do.
No, you're right, man. Any objective reading of this story, you have to see John Carmack as the villain.
Have you, before I move away from Peterson, do you guys know that he has a active YouTube channel right now, and he posts stuff on it? Like I saw a really cool one where he was talking about how there was like a level in Doom 2 that he based off his old house that he had built.
Oh, that's tight.
He was walking through and pointing and all this stuff, and it would cut to like the level itself and those small differences and stuff like that. He's just like a fat old guy, like talking about games and stuff.
I love that.
I forgot it. The
what a
exact
cool guy.
YouTube channel. I'll try and find it before the episode's over.
I wish he was my uncle. Just like a cool old uncle. He's like, Sam, confirm or deny, does he wear suspenders?
No, but he really looks like he could.
I feel like Sandy Peterson could pull off just a bitching pair of suspenders.
keep going. I'm just looking real quick to see if I can find his
Yeah.
YouTube.
So anyway, Ultimate Doom was like, this compilation tie-in pack. I guess it sold pretty well. But episode 4 has been included in like every future re-release. Even the PlayStation release of this game, which was like 96 or 97, but that's like a weird Frankenstein. It's like episodes 1, 2, and 3, then a little bit of episode 4, then Doom 2, and it's all the same thing. It's just called Doom, but it's like certain levels. It's not everything. They kind of picked and chose, and some levels are different, and some have like different exits, and there's even extra levels at the end that weren't any of the other games. It's a weird beast.
Huh. I mean, I like that it has all of that in one package, because I mean, by that time Doom had been out for a while, and it would be a pretty short game, I guess, if it was just the first Doom and incorporating Doom 2 into it and stuff. Like, that's a good way to get people enticed and, into PlayStation and everything. I'm really curious about what changes they made, though. That's
dude, like too many to mention. It's just all kinds of little things like, oh, we took this room out. We added in, another shotgun in this room. The exit is in a different place. I mean, just tons of stuff like that.
Did you find it, Sam?
So his YouTube channel is Sandy of Cthulhu.
Yeah, that's
about half of the thumbnails, he is wearing suspenders.
Yes.
And
Vindication.
he has multiple channels. He's got Peterson Games, where he puts up like stuff about, apparently he's like kickstarting, or he runs or makes board games.
Yeah, because he like wrote the original source materials for Call of Cthulhu, right? And
Did
then I'm pretty sure. And he's working on new, like, I don't know, some kind of board game, like, or a revamp of Cthulhu, some kind of thing like that. But yeah, he was really into the tabletop scene, and I guess still is.
Mm-hmm. And he's also wearing a lot of suspenders in this channel.
Fuck yes. He just seems like a suspender daddy.
He's walking around with them, just thumbs tucked behind him, talking about video games.
He's got those thumbs tucked in deep.
The lore is strong on this podcast, but it's close to reality. I'll just say that when it comes to Mr. Peterson.
Man, I can just see it now. I feel like he would be so much fun to hang out with.
Let's reach out to him. Let's tweet at him.
We'll get Sandy on the show, folks.
Yeah.
If you know Sandy Peterson, let us know.
He's like a wholesome Kyle Gass.
Yeah, no, totally. Because I mean, he is a Mormon from Missouri, which is a cool kind of guy to be. And he just seems like a nice guy. And I like that he's never found issue with, like, making games about demons and shit. All right. Well, let me hit you with a little bit of lore before we get into some history on the man himself, American McGee. So the name Thy Flesh Consumed, of course, all of our good Christian God-fearing listeners will know that is a biblical reference. And in fact, every stage title in this entire episode is a reference to the Bible. But Thy Flesh Consumed comes from Proverbs chapter 5, verse 11, which reads, "And thou mourn at the last, when thy flesh and thy body are consumed."
So is Thy Flesh Consumed the name of the mission or the name of the episode?
It's the name of the episode.
Okay. Yeah. What's the name of this mission?
Hell Beneath.
Hell Beneath. Okay.
Yeah. And that's a biblical reference too, I think. I'm not sure what. I only looked up the one, and then I forgot to look up the other one. So I'm peeling back the curtain here, folks, so you can see that sometimes Andy is lazy and stupid.
You have come to this podcast woefully unprepared, and it's very unprofessional. It's a reference to, in the book of Job, they talk about hell, I think.
Dude, I'm willing to bet the phrase "hell beneath" appears in the Bible like 10,000 times.
Probably, yeah.
It's a reference to the part in the Bible where, well, actually, they don't talk about hell directly in the Bible, don't they? Until Revelations or something.
I don't know if they sick.
Like, they talk about the devil.
They refer to it like straight up as hell, but they talk about like burning in fire and shit like that.
Yeah, the lake of fire.
Yeah, I mean.
Just, it's in the index. Find it in the index. Of the Bible.
It's all in the silver.
It'll show you where it's at, what chapter, what page.
There's the whole the scouring of hell, where Jesus goes to limbo, like John McClane kicks the door down,
fucking kicks ass.
It goes John Wick on their asses.
John Wick 0. Let's get holy.
Jesus Wick.
And Jesus wicked.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm holy.
Yeah, no, he's just the line like, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm risen.
Surprisingly worked very well.
It did, yes.
So now let us turn our attention to the creator of this stage and a famous and beloved game designer,
A notorious bastard.
American James McGee, born December 13, 1972. What do you guys know about American McGee? What have you heard about this personage?
Honestly, I had only known about him from the Alice games.
Yep.
Which were, I mean, at the time were edgy and cool, like let's make like gross, gory, sick, nasty versions of fairy tales, like Tweedledee and Tweedledum, like eating fairies or something. It's like shit like that, it's like real gross and cannibals and everything sucks and it's dark and gory.
Very Alan Moore. Like,
yeah, kind of. It's very like if Alan Moore was like an emo teenager.
Oh yeah, he's so twisted.
Instead of a magic drug wizard.
the only thing I know about American McGee is what we've discussed on this podcast. So.
And that's all there is to know. Because he did not withstand the test of time.
Oh, baby. For anyone who's curious about American McGee, I would recommend checking out on YouTube a clip from an episode of The Screensavers that he was on in like 1998 or something like that, where he talks about American McGee's Alice. He has just the most 90s hair, just like frosted spiked tips all over the place. He looks like he could be performing in the band Linkin Park. But that's American McGee. So let me give you a little bit of history on him. Apparently, he had like a sad and fucked up childhood, which is probably why he's so like twisted and edgy. But his mom was apparently like an eccentric person who like painted houses for a living and had a series of like stepfathers that he didn't get along with, and came up with the name American for, I don't know, some obscure reason. It's just a creative name. It wasn't like, not a reference to anything or, not like in his family or anything like that. And it's not, you might think, oh, maybe it's an immigrant family and that's why they named him American. Nope, just normal white American people. She was just like, oh, I like the name American. That sounds cool.
So she it's literally his birth given name. It's not a nickname he gave himself later on. His name is American McGee.
His real name is American McGee.
I want to stipulate something. I was joking, but about how hard edge he was stuff. It is really cool. If you look at the art and stuff from the Alice games in particular, it's actually really, really cool. And it's really well done, but it's the kind of thing that's been copied like a million times on Tumblr and like everyone's DeviantArt page. But at the time, it was like, whoa, this is actually pretty badass.
Yeah, I've never played them, but I've heard that they're good games.
And they're twisted, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're ready for how twisted they are.
I mean, I don't know if I'm ready either. My very childish sensibilities have not prepared me for whatever weird things that Tweedledee is going to do to Alice.
Oh, baby. Just wait till you see what Tweedledum does to Alice.
Oh, my God.
So American McGee told this story to the author of Masters of Doom. And I apologize because the story is kind of, I don't know, fucked up and transphobic. But this is what American McGee said about his childhood. He says that his mom was dating a guy, and the guy, realized that they were, a woman and, wanted to have like gender reassignment surgery. So the mom, apparently American McGee got home and everything was gone from the house except for like his bed, his clothes, and his computer. The mom had sold everything else, moved out with the partner, and sold everything to pay for gender reassignment surgery. That's what American McGee says. I do not endorse or, say that that's true. That's what he told the author of Masters of Doom. But in any case, if this is true, he's, left alone now, and he was like still wasn't even finished with high school at the time. So he's got to like get a job, fend for himself. And he ended up working at like a Volkswagen repair shop or something like that. and was living in the same apartment complex as the id Software guys, and that's how he met John Carmack. And he like started at id as like a tech support person, like answering the phones, and then moved into level design from there.
So at this point, he already knew how to code. He had a basics in video game design. Like he was learning this stuff on his own while he was still in high school, and then he met these guys.
Yep, taught himself how to code. Was just he and Carmack shared a love of cars, and like working on cars. And they, he kind of made the connection, went to work at id Software, apparently impressed them. They let him start doing level design. He did some on Doom 2, I think. And then he, started on, he worked on episode 4 here. He worked on Quake. I think he worked on Quake 2. And then he got fired, like pretty much everyone else at id Software. It's like, when Romero got fired, like he's having to walk out and he sees American McGee just like smirking at him, like, be seeing you, John. Little did he know that like 2 years later he was going to get the can.
It's too much cool for one company, like those two guys. So they couldn't have existed at the same time for long, anyways.
Yeah. The town wasn't big enough for the both of them.
Exactly. The hair battles alone, man.
So, but he says that him getting fired was actually good for him and like a positive experience because it like freed him to like go his own way. I mean,
that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nice attitude. It's a nice way to look at it. If listeners out there, if you've been fired before, write in and tell us if you had the same attitude.
Well, not even that though. Like he's clearly a talented guy. As much as we already hate him, he's clearly a talented guy. Knows his way around to programming a video game. But also, if it's either not having a job or working under John Carmack, I mean, that's pretty.
Yeah. No, it was a toxic environment for sure. And like his friendship with Carmack had totally soured by that point.
Yeah. So I mean, like he probably is not lying or even really sugarcoating it when he says that he felt better off getting fired and moving away from that environment. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when Tom Hall and Romero and Sandy Peterson, when they were all fired, they I think have all said that like, yeah, it sucked at the time, but like I thought about it for a day and I was like, you know what? This is actually good. This is the right thing.
Yeah. I want to read a quote. I was looking through his wiki here. A quote that attributed to him. He says, I want to be the next Walt Disney, only a little more wicked.
Ooh, a little more wicked.
That's interesting. Like, I wonder how much like Disney's Alice in Wonderland like influenced him, then like he was like, I could do this, but with video games and make it like a weirder, more interesting thing like that. Because I mean, like that comparison to Walt Disney really makes you think with Disney having made a version of Alice in Wonderland. And so
it also, another quote in the same sentence, which kind of makes that make more sense, is he wanted to, quote, create a unified production method for storytelling across the interactive and film industries. So I think he looked up to Walt Disney and maybe made his Alice game with the thought of then making like a movie or some kind of togetherness. And it also has that upcoming is Alice Asylum. So his last game was in 2018. So
it's also like total crack smoking logic. Like the guys who are relaunching G4, they're like, it's going to be everything. It's going to be TV. It's going to be print magazines. It's going to be streaming. It's going to be video games. It's going to be everything.
You guys remember that game and TV show a little while ago, Defiance?
Yeah.
It was a sci-fi show that launched a game at the same time, and they were going to have like tie-in moments with the show and the game. And I was really, really intrigued. And like,
there's an anime. There's an anime from mid 2000s called Dot Hack that they did a video game version of. There's like a whole video game series. And there's like comics and. It was supposed to be this whole multimedia thing. It kind of worked almost.
I appreciate the valiant efforts. I really, really like the valiant effort because that could be really cool. And also, with Defiance, we had a little bit of a tie into that. Being we're from St. Louis. It was about our own hometown.
Those two examples,
baby.
It's just that they just forgot to make the other part good.
Yeah.
Like Defiance, the show was fine. It was pretty cool. The game was not very cool. and it became free to play almost immediately. And then it's the opposite with Dot Hack. Like the games are decent, specifically the second series of games. But man, that anime, I mean, maybe I had a pretty bad translation, maybe, but I wasn't a fan of the anime. I don't think the anime was that good. But
I'll tell you, the first anime they did, Dot Hack Sign, I kind of dug that. It's like they're in an MMO world. There's one character that can't log out, but the rest can. There's just this one guy that you're not sure what his deal is. And then, but there's like a mystery with like the guy who programmed the game, had like put himself into it. And it's kind of like Ready Player One. Like you can see he doesn't acknowledge Dot Hack as a source, but if he stole all of us ideas from that, I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway, they're trying to figure out like why this mysterious creator did this. And it's of course because he was like creepily obsessed with a girl or something. But anyway, it's kind of cool. They're uncovering
bullshit.
Yeah. Like it doesn't make sense as a video game. Like every anime or movie about a video game, the video game they're talking about would suck if you played it in real life.
Yeah.
but like it kind of works as a show. And then there was like a 4-game series, which like I played them and they were kind of fun, but it was an RPG and it could have been one game and it got kind of tedious by the end of it. But I never played that second series you were talking about.
I haven't either, but it was good enough that they did a re-release a couple of years ago where all of them they give them a new like coat of paint and put them all in one collection.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well,
GU or something like that.
That sounds about right. Let's talk a little bit more about American McGee. So after he left id Software, he landed at Electronic Arts, and they made him creative director on what became American McGee's Alice. I'm not sure like what clout or what kind of pull he had. Maybe he was just had the gift of gab, was like the king of bullshitting, like somehow talked himself into this job as like creative director where he would put his name like in front of it, like he's Spike Lee or something. Like, and I can't think of like very few game designers have this where it's like their name is coming first.
Yeah. And it's weird because I mean, I could see how he could get the game. So I was looking at his wiki. He's worked, I mean, he was a tester on Wolfenstein 3D. He's got his name on multiple Dooms and Quakes. So I could see how they would be like, okay, let's give this guy a chance. But like, even like look at his art, like, okay, wow, this is a really cool idea. But yeah, it's kind of ballsy that it's like, my name has to be in front of it.
Yeah.
It's my game.
And in that Screensavers interview, the guy's like, so your name's like comes in front here. And he's like, yeah, I didn't like that. I kind of pushed against that because it's unfair to like all the other people that worked on it. But then every other fucking game that he's ever made, he put his name in front of the title.
Maybe it could have been, maybe it was an EA thing. Maybe they're like, oh, like a business thing. Like, oh, your name's so catchy. We're going to brand that. We're going to do American McGee's everything. And we're going to turn you into a corporate fucking brand.
Yeah, like all the games that he's been involved in, at least up to that point, at least, have been successful. Like really pretty damn successful, right?
And they had, but he was just like a level designer. You know?
He wasn't.
You may as well say Sandy Peterson's Alice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like he must have been known in the industry or or has some sort of notoriety, like some sort of viral knowledge among the player base or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And can I just say, I really want to play Sandy Peterson's Alice.
Yeah.
It's just like a like old, like fat bald man with suspenders, like, going through what's it called, Wonderland, just like shooting guys with a sawed-off shotgun.
And there's there's for some reason there's just a bunch of Caco demons there for some reason.
Everything has 2 buttholes.
Yeah.
Final boss is Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Yes.
With 5 buttholes.
Oh, that's too many. The QA88 is like, that's too many buttholes. Our player base can't handle that many buttholes.
Read the name of this game. What's this game called? Damn right, it's Sandy Peterson's Alice. You put those goddamn buttholes on there.
It's not called Tom Hall's Alice.
You make your own game with how many buttholes you want. You don't mess with Peterson's buttholes.
When your name comes before the title, you can have as many buttholes as you want. When my name's there, it's going to be 5 buttholes. All right. American McGee's Alice came out in the year 2000, and boy, was it twisted. It was maybe the most twisted game ever made. It was like a dark, fucked up take on Alice in Wonderland. like I think it's maybe a sequel. Like after her experiences, in Wonderland,
Or
her house burns down and her whole family dies, and she's in an asylum. And in the asylum, she's having like fever dreams, or maybe she's actually going to Wonderland. And so, but she's gone insane basically. So Wonderland is reflecting that everything's dark and twisted. Everything's trying to kill her. She's got to fight Tweedledee and Tweedledum and the Queen of Hearts and stuff like that.
I was gonna say that's not too different from Alice in Wonderland. Things in Wonderland definitely tried to kill her.
She has a big, giant, rusty, like bloody butcher knife that she carries around.
Yeah,
to like stab things to death.
So it's like so Sucker Punch totally ripped this off, is what you're telling me.
A little bit, yeah. Parts of Sucker Punch did, yeah. They definitely nailed the fever dream aspect of it.
Oh, totally. It was a hit though. Like it did gangbusters. I remember seeing it in software stores. I never played it because it was a PC game, and I didn't play PC games as a kid. But I would have played it if it came out for like Nintendo 64 or something. But
yeah, it was good. I've played it. Action platformer, pretty standard at that time. Just dark and creepy.
Yep.
Cool when you're a teenager.
So edgy, so wicked. But after that, he went off the deep end and just like ruined all his credit in the industry almost immediately. The next big game he worked on was Bad Day L.A. Do you guys remember Bad Day L.A.?
The name sounds kind of familiar, but these were all. I was looking. That's still American McGee Presents or American McGee's Bad Day L.A. Right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And this was a huge stinker. One of the worst games. I think it was like 2006. One of the worst games of the year. X-Play did a whole thing on it where they, gave it like a Golden Mullet Award or whatever the fuck. But it was a real stinker. Apparently, it's about like a homeless person in L.A. and like there's all these. It sounds kind of cool. There's like all these things are happening. Like there's an earthquake. There's alien invasions. There's terrorist attacks. And somehow this wisecracking homeless person has to like save the day and bring everyone together. But apparently it's just a hot mess. Just the gameplay is terrible. The writing's terrible. Everything about it is just like a buggy, unplayable, no fun mess.
Hobo with a shotgun. This game was not.
It's Hobo with a shotgun and a heart.
That movie's great. Oh man. I can't remember the actor's name. What was the actor's name?
God.
Danny Trejo?
No, the guy from Blade Runner.
Yeah.
The old guy, now old guy, but the main villain from Blade Runner. I can't remember
Harrison
his name
Ford?
now. No, the villain.
It's bothering me.
Tears in the Rain, man.
Roy Batty, Rutger Hauer.
Yeah,
Rutger Hauer. Yeah, he plays Hobo with a shotgun in this movie a few years back, and it's actually quite good. Silly premise, but quite good.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. I've seen hobos with shotguns.
Terrorist attacks while aliens invaded.
All these things will be lost in time. Like tears in the rain.
Time to die.
And it was time to die for American McGee's career. After that, like every game he made after that, he just kept going back to the same well. He was like, what if it's American McGee, but this time it's the Land of Oz? What if it's American McGee, but it's Grimm's Fairy Tales? And he had like a huge string of games that got announced and were canceled. He eventually came back with Alice Madness Returns, which I think was pretty well liked and well reviewed. It was like a direct sequel to American McGee's Alice. And he lives in China now, like in Shanghai. I'm not sure why. He just decided he was moving to China and he's got his little studio there. And then he then something about him living on a boat. He was like, I shall take to the seas. He's just sailing around. And he's like constantly doing Kickstarters for like these like crazy ambitious projects that like don't get funding. He's like got a Patreon account so that you can like subscribe to his Patreon, watch him make YouTube videos on his boat while he's sailing around.
So for a while there, it sounds like he really was trying to do the Disney thing. Disney takes all this stuff that's been around for 100 years and, put out his own version of it. And that's basically what he was doing for a little bit there.
Yeah, kind of.
With video games and a the Tim Burton twist on it.
Right. Yeah. But like Tim Burton, he quickly became a parody of himself.
Yeah. I still think Tim Burton's a pretty decent director. He just
I don't
is a
know.
little bit
I
up his
feel
own
like,
butt these days.
yeah, I don't know. It's like he hasn't like he had such a good run in like the 90s, and then he
Mhm.
really fell off, and like every now and then he'll like I thought Sweeney Todd was okay, but I can't think of another movie of his that I would actually call good. in
Big
like
Fish.
in like Okay, Big Fish is pretty good.
Big
Yeah,
Fish is
but in
good.
the but that was like 10 years ago. In like the last 10 years,
Oh,
I
it's
really
longer than
can't
10
think of
years ago.
anything.
I think Big Fish came out in like 2003 or something. It was forever ago.
That sounds
Uh,
about right.
Recent stuff, I think like I don't know how long ago this was, but like Corpse
Well,
Bride and Frank and Weenie was good. The
he made Alice in Wonderland, didn't he?
He did.
Yep, and Willy
Well,
Wonka.
yeah. Oh my God, that Willy Wonka he made is crazy.
And he did Dumbo.
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
probably the newest thing.
That
Yeah,
might be.
that was like a Burton reunion because Danny DeVito and Michael Keaton were in there too.
I heard it sucked. It looked bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did
Oh,
it.
he did
Yeah.
Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. So that was supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah.
so
Okay. Yeah.
It looked like Victorian X-Men or something.
Yeah, it's based off a kid's
With
book
kids.
series, I think.
Yeah, for kids. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe Tim Burton and American McGee should team up. What
They
would that
probably
game be like?
should. You need to check on
say-
each other's crazy.
2007 was the last thing I greatly enjoyed from Tim Burton, which was Sweeney Todd. Everything
Man.
after that, I skipped.
13 years
how-
of garbage, pure hot garbage.
How good of friends must Tim Burton and Danny Elfman be? Right? Where like Danny Elfman just keeps coming back to score all these crappy movies.
He probably enjoys it. He probably loves it.
Yeah.
He probably has a blast. I mean, he doesn't need to do it because, like, he's got that Simpsons money forever.
Yeah, he's getting the royalties off the fucking theme song to The Simpsons.
He's got his own band or whatever, and he's doing his thing. He's fine. He just probably loves. He probably has
Did you
fun.
see that new Oingo Boingo song that came out last year?
No,
Oh man, hold on. Let me find it.
they're tight.
We're not
going
going to play it right now.
I know. I just want to.
Save it for later, Sam.
Sam's just like doing research on his own time. Like while we're recording, he's just like, "You guys talk. I'm going to go do some research on Oingo
I'm gonna go
Boingo."
listen to this Oingo Boingo album for a few minutes.
Oingo Boingo is sick though. You guys should definitely listen to it if you haven't. But that about brings us up to date on American McGee. Unfortunately, he really fell off the earth. He had a good run there at id Software. It seemed like he was the new golden boy with.
He
American
literally
McGee
isn't
Dallas.
on the earth now. He's on the ocean. It's funny.
He's joined Sea Org. He's just floating around with David Miscavige's wife someplace.
God.
But that'll do it. We'll be checking in with our friend American again. He's got a few more levels in episode 4 here. If they're anything like the first one, though, I gotta say I'm not a fan. I think you could do better here. These are not my. This one in particular, I think it was just a little too mean for my taste.
It also like the design wasn't like interesting. Just it's so itty bitty, and it's like 2 rooms, and his whole shtick was like, I'm gonna throw a fuckload of enemies at you in these 2 little rooms, and they're gonna teleport in. You're gonna be miserable. Like it just wasn't really. It wasn't a cleverly designed level. It's just like, here's 2 rooms. There's damage floor, so you can't go anywhere. You're stuck. It's gonna suck for you. Here we go. And so, well, I hope that it gets better. I really do. He's prolific and notorious at this point in his career. So I'm hoping there's a reason and it shows up soon. But
Yeah.
so far, episode 4 is off to a bad start.
I agree, and it's weird that they picked this one to open it up. I guess maybe it's one of the more simplistic levels. Even though it's difficult, it's like small and easy to wrap your head around. Some of the later levels are rather complex. So I don't know. It's weird that they picked this to open it up, instead of a Romero level. But that could also be political things behind the scenes. Like Carmack is like, we're going to pick Americans level to open episode 4. What do you think of that, Romero?
Ugh, dude.
It just flips his hair dramatically.
Yeah. This is bullshit. I'm out of here.
All right, Sam, what is your final verdict on this stage?
We'll see is my final verdict. It's definitely like, that's the emotion I got from it.
All right. we'll reserve judgment. American McGee, we're giving you a probationary chance to prove yourself. But that'll do it for this episode of One Stage at a Time. We'll be back in your podcast feeds in about a week, where we will be talking about mission 2 of episode 4. And Sam, what words of wisdom do you have for our listeners today?
I think I'd be prepared for this one of these episodes.
You know it's coming.
I know it's coming. Okay, here you go. If no, that's not good. I don't know. Play Hades.
There you go.
It's good.
There you go.
Go to hell.
All right.
Play Hades.
All right, Aaron, what do you want to say before we leave today?
I want to say thank you, everybody, for listening. Please go to onestageatatime.com for more episodes and links to all of our things. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please come back next time for another fantastic episode of One Stage at a Time. We love you. We appreciate your listens. Andy, give us that sign off, baby.
Save and continue.